May falls out of the sky into this little village called Giant's Hand, and she's wearing a punk princess t-shirt. But oddly enough, she denies she's royalty. Jack, who can't stand royalty, is forced to help her search for her missing grandmother, who may just be Snow White. Once they rescue her, things very quickly fall apart, and May, Jack, and Philip now have to save the world. Along the way, they have to save a bunch of fairy queens, try not to incur the wrath of the Sea King. They fail miserably. Fight an angry, evil fairy queen, and not get trapped in the land of Nether. So that escalated quickly. Hey guys, welcome to Good Clean Reads. I'm really glad you're here for today's review. It's for the Half Upon a Time trilogy, which consists of 3 books, though I presume you garnered that from the word trilogy. There's Half Upon a Time, Twice Upon a Time, and Once Upon the End. It's a middle grade series, meaning it's written for kids 8 to 12 years old, but I presume that older kids would enjoy it. I mean, I'm an older kid, I enjoyed it. The series is set in a world of twisted fairy tales. I'll read to you the back of the first book. Life is no fairy tale for Jack. His dad's been missing ever since that little incident with the beanstalk, and his grandpa won't stop nagging him to get out and find a princess to rescue. Who'd want to rescue a snobby, spoiled princess anyway? Especially one like May, who falls from the sky wearing a shirt that says Punk Princess and still denies she's royalty. Is this all an evil plot masterminded by the Wicked Queen? Jack thinks so. After all, May's grandma might just be the Queen's worst enemy, the long-lost Snow White. What I really liked how the author included elements from many, many different fairy tales. Even though there was something slightly different about the fairy tales, they're like just a step off from where you'd think like it should be. And it's just a step off from how you know the stories, it was just fun to read and recognize the different fairy tale elements or characters as I went along. And the story was fun. Both me and my little brother thoroughly enjoyed it. And then James Riley is a hilarious author. Even his acknowledgements page and author bio smack of his unique sense of humor. I mean, just listen to this. James Riley is the author of the Half Upon a Time series, as well as many books too unwritten to count. He's met thousands of imaginary people, most of whom are more polite than you'd think, but less interesting than you'd hope. He doesn't believe fairy tales actually happened, mostly because he's never had tiny elves do his work for him at night, despite their promising several times. James currently lives in Los Angeles, but it's not like he's special that way. So do a lot of other people. His books are hilarious. And a lot of it's like sarcastic or based off of totally obvious things being stated, or like a statement that makes no sense anywhere else but the story world in which it's being stated. And it's like said with just absolute complete seriousness. The series keeps me chuckling. A couple other things I liked Jack's character arc. For those who don't know, a character arc is the way a character grows and changes in the story. I liked Jack, so you could see him grow throughout the course of the story. And then I also liked Philip's perfect princely character. It was kind of funny. And then I liked that a character sacrificially dies for another character. I know that's a weird thing to like, but there's always something so special in a story when a character lays down his life for another. It reminds me of what Christ did, right? For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person one might dare to die. But God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And so it's a cool reminder. And then moving on to content concerns, couple things to note. I tend to read, I read this series laser focused on looking for content concerns so that I could write the review. So it's gonna seem like there's a lot, but they're incredibly easy to gloss over and miss, and they're not as concerning within the context of the story. I'm just including things I think parents might want to know. And then also for the video, I'm gonna just summarize some of the content concerns, because if I listed every single one I'd written down, this video would be twice as long. So you can go to goodcleanreads.com and go to book reviews and click on Half Upon a Time Trilogy review and find every single one there, like a more detailed list. All right, so the first section of content concerns is Christian or other beliefs. This series is not Christian. There are no Christian beliefs except for the ever-present theme of good versus evil and the character who sacrifices himself for another. And then there's actually a bit of musing in the story on good versus evil and whether or not good always wins. And it's done in a way so as to not interrupt the flow of the story, which I think is kind of cool. And then there's magic in the books. It's more like Disney magic. There's light and dark sides to it, but it's more like Disney magic. For romance, crushes and kissing are a fair part of the story. I mean, when May first meets Jack, she's unconscious, so Jack kisses her to wake her up because he thinks she's a princess. Situations where someone's unconscious and then kissed to get them to wake up literally happen once a book per the How to Wake a Sleeping Princess fairy tale code. It literally happens once a book. Then there are occasions where a guy will notice how a girl's hair or hand smells, or when they realize they're awkwardly close. Again, there's more details on my blog. For violence, there's violence, mostly slapstick I'd say, like people fall from large heights or slam into hard objects but are completely okay. There's also a fair amount of sword fighting, but it's not that bad. It's not gory at all, in the slightest. For language, the biggest thing is that God's name is taken in vain. Only in the first book, but does happen. And then there's a couple other things that there's no actual swear words, but just a couple other comments that aren't the nicest. So I've put it on my blog for those who want to know exactly what it is. It's nothing too terrible except for God's name being taken in vain, but then a couple other things to know. The biggest one pretty much is just most of the characters have sizable attitudes. May's shirt says punk princess. I mean, words like stupid and idiot are frequently used to describe things. The way these characters greet people tends to be with a rude or sarcastic comment, even if the person's trying to help. And then along with the attitude comes disobedience and lying, though I will say that sometimes those lies are to get out of life-threatening situations. And then the one character who is polite and doesn't lie is like made fun of. And they say he's not worldly enough, and at one point he regrets not being able to lie to his mother. We learn that the Wicked Queen became evil when she was saved from death by shadows that removed her heart and locked it in a box to keep it from harm. They laid a curse on the heart that allows only her family to then kill her. So in order to defeat the Wicked Queen, Jack had to steal the heart, and then they shove it into the Wicked Queen and stab her, non-graphically. Then there's a couple other things, and each section I have more detailed out on my blog with like a couple like particular instances or things like that. So if you're a parent trying to decide if this book is right for your children, you can look there. But for my conclusion, my little brother thoroughly enjoyed the story when he first read it. I don't remember when he first read it. He's 12 now. But he was somewhat eager to help me take the social media pictures for it, so he enjoyed it. I also thoroughly enjoyed the story when I read it, and I think your child would as well. The biggest concerns are the attitude and taking God's name in vain. If my memory serves me right, it happened 3 times, but I do remember it was only in book 1. The books aren't written from a Christian worldview, but they're cleaner than most other middle grade series, and they were hilarious. I mean, James Riley is a hilarious author. Thank you so much for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I would appreciate it if you'd like the video, comment below, share with your friends, and also check out some of my other reviews. I do these reviews to try and help Christians guard their heart with all vigilance, for from it flows the springs of life, and also to help parents be discerning in what they let their children read. So, thank you so much for stopping by. You can visit my blog, goodcleanreads.com. I have the book review I did here on the video in blog form with the content concerns detailed a little bit more, and along with many, many other book reviews. So check it out and let me know if there are any specific books you'd want reviewed. Bye!